Landed for success. Finally, it's there. And I'm so excited to have Gordon again today. Congratulations for number one new release on few categories. He's always number one. He's always in his work, in his networking, and what he's doing. He actually contributed and wrote a few books, right, Gordon? How many books so far?
Oh, we've had personally ourselves, we probably have about a dozen books, and then combined with individuals we work with, I think we're approaching like 37 or 38.
Wow.
Yeah.
So first, introduce you. Um, I'm going to introduce you. Gordon Su is an author, a speaker, and top transformational coach. He is also has a background in real estate and mortgage, right?
Yes.
Pretty active. Okay, tell me about this. Like the first time I saw Gordon, it was in networking event with Randy Goodman. And that was my book with Randy was going to publish. I mean, not publish, was launching that day. And I had a great experience being in that event and talk as a speaker for the first time. And then I saw Gordon. Actually, we saw each other before in a show, Sharing Francis show.
The television show. Yes.
Yeah, he actually he was a producer in a show. What was the Leap? Yeah, what was the name?
TV. That's right. You got good memory. Leap, right? Leap TV.
Leap. Yeah, and the name of the book was Leap as well. Empowering Women to Succeed. Leap.
Yes.
That was the version.
That was actually by coincidence, right?
Oh, really? I thought that are related.
Yeah, the book was Leap. And then Shireen, who was part of our group, community of women and empower women to succeed, decided she wanted to launch a television show. And the name of her show was Leap TV. So it was kind of neat how the two kind of coincided at the same time.
Yeah. You know, the great thing for contribution is seeing amazing people. That's what I like. You know, for the first time, I could be connected, because when you are doing it alone, you don't know anybody, especially for you as a first time author. It's so difficult to get so many connections, because that's the problem. Connection is problem, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's the key. But as soon as I saw Gordon, I don't have any problem for connection, because he's connected to anybody, like empowering people. And he is actually connected to very powerful people in Canada, US. And every day you have live shows.
Yes.
So much. You so active.
Wow. Yeah, live shows are important, right? You do live shows, Pantea.
Yeah, I do live shows. Yes, I do.
Yeah. And the neat thing about our live shows is usually it's like the book, right? It's a story.
Yeah.
Stories. And one of my mentors has always taught me that stories are important, aren't they? Right? And he would say, you know, stories can teach us so many different lessons. It can inspire us, it can uplift us. And so it was just important for us to do interviews on a consistent basis, whether we have a book or not. There's individuals out there whose stories we can continue to inspire other people.
And, you know, the good characteristic of Gordon is not only writing a book with him. I remember there was a lady in our group. She used to paint. You remember, right?
Yes.
And you buy the painting from her. And in any shows, I could see that painting at the back of him. So he's a really good supporter all the time. And that's amazing. That's a good thing from you.
I actually have that downstairs.
You still have it?
My studio where I do some of my interviews. But I remember Anne, she was incredible. Remember that?
And
she painted on glass. Very few people actually paint on glass.
Yes.
And so the one she gave me, it's one of a kind. and it's got this beautiful flower, and
Yeah,
it's just painted on glass. Yeah.
yeah, she's amazing. So tell me about this book, Landed for Success. The interesting thing, Gordon, in the morning I had a show with Sarah Rahimi. She
Mm.
also talked about her own story as an immigrant. So today is an immigrant show. So we talk about immigration. I
Okay.
know it's so hard. All of us are immigrant, most of us
Yes.
here. And you are immigrant too, like your
Or,
parents are, or you are the
yeah,
first
my
immigrant.
parents. I was born in Hong Kong, Pantea,
Uh-huh.
and my parents immigrated here. I was probably around 9 years old,
Uh-huh.
and then my business partner J.J. Hansen, who's part of the Land of Success book, he came here from Sri Lanka when he was probably a teen. So his experiences would have been different than mine as a teenager, right? And the experiences that I have. But Jay and I, through our networking for business and events, we've always heard of amazing stories, right?
Yeah.
Immigrant stories. And you can imagine sitting around at the breakfast table, we always hear stories from our parents all the time, right? About somebody or uncle or aunt or Uncle Luigi. And they all have these amazing stories. My dad, for example, would say whenever we complained about not having enough money, he would say, "Well, you should have seen when I came to Canada, I had like 50 cents and I had an apple in my pocket," right? So stories like,
Wow.
and that's when we thought, okay, why don't we put together a book? This series will be individuals who are in business, but they can share some of their experiences and how they survived and thrived. And Pantea, that's
Beautiful.
how it started. And then Samantha Glass, who's a very successful paralegal, and she's been in some of our Empowering Women to Succeed series like yourself. She said, wait a minute, I'm not an immigrant, but I have a story.
I see.
Yeah. And so that's why you have a mixture of stories of folks who have who are immigrants, and then business individuals who have some really neat stories as well.
Yeah, I know her. She been in so many talking shows. Yeah, right. She's on the
Yeah,
stage a lot of time. I saw her. Um. So, are you inside the book as well?
I am Pantea.
Oh, then I have to read it. Great. So, what age you been when you came to Canada?
I was around 9. Yeah.
9. Yeah. 9 is for my daughter, she's born here, but she hasn't gone to school yet, and not too much daycare because of COVID. But I
Yeah.
can see how she pick up language so fast. Even in her age, she can talk in Farsi and English both.
Yes.
I'm amazed. Sometimes she says something I don't under. Oh, you know this word as well. She's
Yes.
she's good
Yeah.
with language. Yeah,
Well, kids are very adaptable and they pick up quickly, right? I think even at my age, I picked up quickly, but it was difficult at first, especially when it's brand new language and you don't understand what somebody is saying and you can't communicate that. I actually remember Pantea once when I was in school, probably grade 2 or 3, and I needed to go to the bathroom.
uh-huh.
Yeah, but I could not. It didn't matter how hard I tried to communicate to my teacher that I need to go to the bathroom. She could not understand what I
Wow.
right, and I couldn't say the right. And she couldn't. She was trying to. I could tell she wanted to help me, but she couldn't figure out how to make me understand what she was saying either. To a point where I was so desperate, I just took off and I ran to the bathroom. Right. And then, Jay, who's my business partner in Land for Success, his story is kind of neat because he immigrated here to Canada as a teenager.
Yeah.
So you can imagine maybe some of the, what is the word I'm looking for? The stress, the peer pressure. I think of a peer pressure when you're a teenager as well, and you're in a new country, everything's different,
High schoolers.
right? Yeah, and you got to try to get along, and there's bullying and there's racism. So it
Exactly.
kind of neat book, and the whole idea is the book is not for us to feel sorry for ourselves, right?
No.
As we have these pity parties, you'll find in there stories of individuals who have thrived, they have survived, and they have thrived, and there's some incredible life lessons and business lessons in each one of the stories.
Gordon, every time there is a story in trauma, and there isn't a story that you can find a story in falling or failing, you know, and immigration is a big transition.
Yes.
As my podcast name, Transition Show, is everything is about transition, but because it's not only your job you're doing, or you have to change your environment, your culture should be adaptable. You come to somewhere, sometime Canada is a nice country because you can find a lot of variety foods here. But
Yes.
I used to
Sure.
live in Australia, and the city I used to live, there was no Iranian food, and I was like, wow, I have to cook myself all the time as a student. And even the bread, like in here, you can find different kinds of bread.
And everything, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
everything. But that's why you don't feel so. You don't feel missed. You don't feel
Right.
that you miss your country, or so it's very easy to adjust to
Yes. The
Canada.
the homesickness isn't as big, is it?
Sorry.
You don't feel as homesick here.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of those stories. How many stories totally you have?
There's 18 stories,
18. Wow.
18 stories, and every one of them is special. Every one of them is unique. Um,
Sure.
a friend of mine, Pantea, if I could share the story with you, a friend of mine lives in Florida,
Uh-huh.
and I had asked him about 9 days ago, because tomorrow's our official launch, right? Because tomorrow's where we would like everyone to purchase a copy at the same time. But I had asked him, could he download a copy already, read it, and then give us a positive review on Amazon? And he said, sure. And today he did an interview with me, and he's finally finished reading the book today. Can you imagine? He had taken, like, every day he had taken his time to read the book, like read each chapter at a time, take notes, and
Wow.
he was saying it was so amazing. And giving, here's his background. He is actually a certified instructor with the Napoleon Hill Foundation.
Okay.
And so he's
Interesting.
an incredible teacher, incredible trainer, and stories are, he loves stories. And he said there's one story in there. He said, I fell in love with Pamela Geiger. So I don't
Uh-huh.
give away her story, but if you get a copy of the book, you'll see her story, and a single mom,
Okay.
right? Can you imagine? Again, I don't want to give her away her story. I'm trying to say what. I'll give you this backdrop at least. Can you imagine her ex at the time? It's her ex now, but she had two little girls, 2 or 3 maybe,
Okay.
and the husband walked out on them.
Wow, that's so hard.
Isn't it hard? Like, took the house.
So what did you do?
In the book, you'll find out how she right? She bounced back. It's a great story how she bounced back. And and Larry was saying to me, he said, Gordon, I teach the science of success with Napoleon Hill. And I teach and talk about adversity all the time. And he said, when I was reading Pamela's story, that is exactly what I've been teaching. But he says, all of a sudden I'm sitting here at home in Florida thinking, I never knew what adversity was
Yeah.
until, since I thought I had been through adversity, but when I read her story, wow, that's adversity and how she was able to bounce back from it.
Yeah, it's so difficult. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing because you see others people struggling, how they could bounce back. and that actually gives you a lot of hope and inspiration. These kind of stories I love because it gives you a lot of energy.
It does,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Or we have,
Yes.
someone in the book, and she, at age 50, she went back to school and got her law degree at age 50,
Wow, amazing.
right? Never too late.
Never too late, isn't it? Even for having kids, never too late.
Mhm.
You can have kids after 40, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yes. So, oh, we have Kelly here.
Welcome, Kelly.
Yeah, hi, Kelly. And yeah, he's just saying hi. So we have some audience. Yeah, showing the audience. Yeah, we are here and we are waiting for tomorrow lunch, but you can actually still go and order it. We're gonna have a few second break and we come back soon.
Amazing.
Please subscribe to Pantea Kalhor Transition channel and order my book Rules of Change for the Better. Tune up your mood and transform your life to reach your biggest dreams. So here she said, landed for success. Join our international. Oh, you have a event tomorrow, right?
We have an event tomorrow, yes. 10 a.m.
Yes,
10
10
a.m.
a.m. So you're gonna talk about the book and
Yeah. Pantea, do you remember? I'm going to put you on the spot for a sec.
sure, go ahead.
Tomorrow's our live launch,
Yeah.
right? And right here at home, we have been locked down. Like our lockdown is still May 20th, right?
Yes.
And I know there are some places where, places are already opened up. So if we were not locked down right now, we would have a live event, in-person event.
Yeah, I miss it.
Hundreds
I
of us,
miss
right?
it.
Hundreds. Remember what the feeling was like for you? I want some of even the authors that are watching in the audience. What was it like for you to be in a room where there were several hundred people, and then your name was called, and you came on stage to
Yeah.
share your story? What was that feeling like?
That was actually a starting point for me
Wow.
because even if I had the book of myself, I never had speaking engage. See, I'm speaking right now, even if English is not my first language, but I confidently speak and I have a lot of audience right now. So yeah, you should start from somewhere. And when you see you have a lot of audience, especially live events is good. We um, in their event, where was it? I don't remember. That was a very luxurious place. I remember we had a great lunch together, and so many great people. I started connection there because I feel if you want to write a book, and especially in Amazon, the best place mm, the best market to advertise your book is a local market.
Wow. Why is that? Why do you think that's the
Yeah,
case?
I tell you the reason because I have more connection in Canada rather than uh, US, right? So
Yes.
for me, it's much easier to get the bestseller in Canada. It's not even the bestseller because I have a coaching business beside my book, right? And I have clients all over the world,
Hmm.
but those who are in Canada are more connected to me.
Right.
Right. So right now we are in lockdown, but before we had this opportunity to go out, to go to the event, to see people.
Yeah.
So right now it's a bit tough, but before we didn't have this problem.
We took it so much for granted, right? And
Yes.
at the live launch, do you remember when we did the book signing?
Oh, I love that part. Yes, I
Talk
love that part.
about that, because it's so hard. I was describing it to somebody the other day, and they couldn't visualize it. And I want to go back a bit. Sometimes we go to a bookstore
Yeah.
and we see somebody standing there with their sign, their banner, their table, their books, doing a signing. There was one time I stood there for an hour, And that person there didn't have a single individual come up and talk to them about their new book, right? Whereas
Oh,
at our live launch, remember,
yeah.
there's like 18, 20 authors in a row on a table.
Yeah.
And then what was it like for you as authors, one after the other, for like 20, 30 minutes to an hour, right? Like nonstop, asking you to sign their book.
Yeah. That's great. You feel like an author, really. It's a great opportunity, especially as I said. We work together as a team to publish a book, launch together is a
Yeah.
contribution, right? So you feel
Yes.
amazing when you do it together, especially when you are in a live event. It's more exciting. And Kelly actually talked about your editor, right? Lindsay Fisher is
Yes.
she's been in uh,
Yeah. Lindsay was part of the Empower and Succeed series, and she was part of the 365 Empowering Stories, right? You can't afford the luxury negative thought that you are
yeah, she's been in few volume of empowerment.
as well. Yes. Or
Yeah,
some. That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Not one. I can. She was even with me as well. I remember.
Which one was that? Which title was that?
Lip.
Leap. And that was the same one that Lester Bailey was in, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
I don't even know. And to see Randy now launch like her 8th book, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Now she's on her 8th, and they launched the Waterfront
Wow.
book.
Oh, I see the waterfront magazine is a great opportunity as well.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's one I wanted to be featured as well. I talked
What a
to.
feature in that. So
Yeah.
this is kind of neat, right? So my friend
Yeah,
Kareem.
I love it.
So this is Waterfront magazine, and you've got Eileen Dickinson here from the
You
Shark
see?
Tank. Right inside, you have Rob Herjavec. Look at this. Look at this. So this was before he became prime minister,
Yeah.
right?
He's been
So,
there in waterfront
yeah.
magazine.
So if you want to be a prime minister, you may want to become.
No, I
Uh,
don't want to be prime minister. I'm okay.
look at this.
Yeah.
Prince Harry,
Yeah.
right, is on here. My favorite on this cover is
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Titanic, right?
Yes.
Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio. So it's pretty cool. So we're lining for success. I can't really give it away yet, but we'll probably be looking at doing some collaboration with events or seminars and
Yeah.
workshops.
You are really good at it. That's why I love working with you. And I always recommend everybody, especially people who are in. Hang on. Yeah, mommy.
So this is what I love about home business.
Go, mom. Outside, mom. Yeah, I love working with people who inspire you, and they have a lot of connection. You see, he also talked about Baron John Shin for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, foreword. Foreword is so important. I have two good foreword for my book, and I'm so proud of it because it's really important. Who is Baron John Shin? Tell us.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Thank you for posting that as well, Kelly. Baron John Shin. In fact, we're doing an interview with him tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the book? Do you remember the book Think and Grow Rich? Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I
Yes.
bought it. Actually, I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Baron John Shin is from California, and he wrote the foreword in Land for Success. We're so grateful for him to do that. I'm not going to tell you too much about his story, but his parents immigrated from Korea when he was around 100 days old.
So, sorry, Baron John Shin is related to that book you show me.
Yeah, I'm going to share with you in a second how it's related.
Okay.
So his parents immigrated from Korea, South Korea, to Los Angeles when he was around 100 days old. So when you read the foreword, you'll see a bit of his story. But since then, he's gone on to start over 22 plus multi-million dollar businesses. Can you imagine?
Wow.
You're talking about
Wow.
in the US, right? This is why it's so important to be in a book, right? So think about the 18 authors that are now connected to Baron John Shin for life. You ready for this, Pantea? So
Yes.
he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich and Asian Choice.
Mm-hmm.
And Think and Grow Rich is, by Napoleon Hill. There's Think and Grow Rich for Women by Sharon Lecter. There's Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough.
Oh, there are different versions of it.
There's different versions. And then, in terms of Think and Grow Rich, you look at thought leaders like Bob Proctor, Anthony Robbins, all these individuals that have been teaching Think and Grow Rich for years. Well, Baron John Shin and his wife approached the Napoleon Hill Foundation in 2015
Mm-hmm.
and bought the rights to produce a Think and Grow Rich movie.
Wow.
Isn't it? Like, wow. So everything you read in print, he brought to life in the theater. When they first started, you and I know what it's like, when you start a book. So many things change before you finally finish.
Yeah.
Right? The things you think will won't, and the things you think won't will. They started out with a budget of $1 million to produce the movie. They went over budget to $6 million.
Wow.
If the movie is so well produced, and Pantea, some of the thought leaders like Bob Proctor, Grant Cardone, Barbara Corcoran from the Shark Tank, right? John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire, Lewis Howells. The list of thought leaders is just absolutely incredible. Sharon Lecter, and so he wrote the foreword in our book, Landed for Success. And it wasn't until today that Larry Daniels, who's a certified instructor with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, he said to me, Gordon, these stories are so powerful and they're so inspiring. Because when it's your own, when I say it's my own, it's all of ours, right? Jay, myself, Kelly, like all the authors, it's ours, right? It's not just because we thought of the idea doesn't mean it's just ours. All the authors, their stories, so powerful, like you, right? Like this week, you launched a new bestseller with 22 doctors, right? Doctors and professionals. So even though it's your baby, Pantea, like everybody feels like, man, it's ours, right? And I love that collective feeling of us all coming together and inspiring the world. But yeah, that's John Shin. He is the executive
Beautiful.
producer. Think and Grow Rich: The Legacy, that came out in theaters. And he also wrote the book How Rich Asians Think and Grow Rich, another Napoleon Hill Foundation book.
Wow. Beautiful. Larry T. Daniel, Kelly said.
Larry T. Daniels is a certified instructor with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So he was the gentleman I mentioned earlier who read our book already, fell in love with Pamela Geiger's story, and kind of like yourself, remember you said you started, it was your first time speaking, and then you grew and you grew, right? And you grew into coaching, you grew into podcasting, you grew into authorship.
Yeah.
Now you're doing this stuff on here. I'm like, oh my goodness, how do you do that? It's like really the fade in, the fade out. So Pamela Geiger also wants to be a success coach as well. And she is becoming a success coach. And so now Larry, I just connected Larry with Pamela, and they're going to be doing an interview to talk about the book. So those little baby steps, right? And like what you mentioned, the connection. That's what I love about doing books, not just helping individuals share their stories.
Yes. Gordon, I remember the day I came to Sharon Francis show just as a curiosity. I saw it on Facebook, just advertisement. And I've been there. Then Gordon said, "Why are you here?" I said, "I have a book." I remember. Do you remember the cover, Gordon, that day? That was the cover.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
And he said, "Why did you come with this book?" I said, "I don't know. I just felt that I just want to know what to do with my book." And he said, "Do you want to be on the next show?" I said, "What?"
Yeah.
Sure. So that's why right away they had interview with me as a future guest,
Yes.
and then I've been there.
Yes.
That was my first TV show, and from that time till now, I'm doing a lot of interview shows.
Yeah.
So that's the starting point, and that was amazing because somebody give you some bravement, encouragement, and you see the real thing about the connection, especially in live event, is that there are other successful people who are ahead of you,
Yeah.
and they already published a book, so you can learn a lot of things
Learn
from
from
them.
them, right? Yes.
Yes, and you may start your business in another direction, but still it's a great idea to have connection and to learn, because I'm always open to learn
Yeah.
from people. Yes.
And that's so important, isn't it? No, back to the going back to that the Shireen Francis show. I remember you sharing your story on that show,
Yes.
and kind of like our books, right? When we first start, people are like, "Oh, it's just a little book," and it is, right? Oh, you guys, you want to do a television show and you want to interview entrepreneurs, but you know, how can you ever compare? Like that, you'll never be an Oprah, that kind of thing, right? That's kind of like
Oh,
what
I can be an Oprah too.
right?
I don't believe it.
You
You
can't.
know, exactly. Sh- a few days ago, last week, oh, my book has been featured in Fox, NBC,
It's amazing.
and so many media. And I tell you what was the key success. A few months ago, I recorded a show, like a private show, and there was a group actually. Let's say I was connected to a group, and they asked us to record the show of the day you're gonna be featured in media, and I have it. Still have that recording, and I said, uh, naturally, no, that time I don't have the title for my book. Yes, I remember. I didn't have the title, and I said my book is gonna be featured in NBC, Fox, CBS. Exactly those words. And
Wow.
when
You
I saw myself featured, yeah,
Yeah.
you see, that was vision. That was vision. And then my frequency, like my thoughts frequency, was there all the time. And
Yeah.
anything like connection came to me. Like when you have right connection, you can see other media
Yeah.
people and you can see how they succeed. So
Yes.
this thing is not a dream for you because you can see them as a real example.
Yeah. When you fall in love with your dream, when you fall in love with your passion, when you fall in love with what you do, and you surround yourself with the right people,
Yes.
your dreams come true. I remember that show, Pantea. I think I hear an echo, so I don't know if it's me. Um, when when we launched the Shereen Francis television show, people said, "Well, who's going to watch? Nobody's going to watch, you guys." We launched it. I don't remember now, on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. Literally on Monday morning, Shopify, which is a multi-billion-dollar business now,
Yeah.
Shopify reached out to Shireen and said, "We saw your show. We'd like to hire you." Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Know who's watching. My business partner, J.J. Canton, the marketing this time around has blown up. Like we have some posts where we have like 45,000 to 250,000 reach on some of our,
Wow.
because he's been doing some amazing things in the back end. Our authors, if they don't, people didn't know their name, they do now, right? And so because of all the stuff he's doing, there's a company. I just looked. I think they're like just under $4 billion in annual revenue right now. They
Wow.
just reached out to Jay and said, "Hey, we saw what you've been doing. Can we hire you to come and do our marketing?"
Yeah.
And as you know, some of the authors, it's such an incredible healing process for them to write about their story, and they just want to share their story. And for some like yourself and myself, we like to leverage the book as a tool for business as well, for more credibility, more branding, right? And to see two individuals now that I love so much, that I work together, being chased. They're not
Exactly.
chasing them.
I follow you, Gordon.
Multi-billion-dollar companies.
Exactly, follow you. You know, I'm telling you something. I used to pitch to media to
Mhm.
get, a lot of pitches. I've done a lot of pitches. And these days, people pitches me.
Yeah.
Like they send email and they want to be in my podcast, in my shows. When I started my shows, one day I said, okay, I'm going to have a studio,
Yes.
smallest studio. I bought the project or everything. And then my husband said, what are you going to do? I said, nothing. I'm going to start a little show just to promote my book. And look at me right now here.
Yeah.
Only after few months, my show grow like crazy.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
don't have time. Every day, almost every day, I have show, podcast. I have more than 2,000 subscribers. I have 5 different shows. I only wanted to have one, and now I have 5 different shows.
It's
So
incredible.
you build your success step by step,
Step
and
by
it
step, right?
grows.
And you're so
Yeah,
organized. I can't believe it. Like you are so well organized on top of
yeah.
everything, Pantea.
Thank you. I try. Yeah.
What you're doing here with StreamYard, wow. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
need
One.
I need some
Uh,
lessons from you.
the one TV producer asked me, how did you make this? Is somebody helping you? I said, no, I've done it myself. I'm not really, I used to do a lot of graphic design before because I'm a web
Yeah.
developer. I was a web developer. But I don't know, when you love something, you don't think that you're working. This
Yeah.
is not working hours. This is something like coming from your passion. You're doing it because you love it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And that's what the book is for us. We just love. I love doing, not necessarily the books. I don't know if it's because I love books. I just love people, if that makes sense. I love people. I love to be able to take someone and say, hey, stories is what helped me. Am I
Yes.
listening to stories, listening to audio cassettes, listening to people tell stories, reading books, go to events. There was a time when I had a mentor where I would fly from city to city to city. I'll fly to California just to watch this individual tell stories on stage.
I see.
Right. So it's just so I could emulate the individual. And they would tell a joke, and then I would try the same joke. And if it didn't work, I scrap it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. The way they walk, the way they talk, the way they.
Because you have your unique way,
Yeah.
Gordon. You don't need to imitate anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I see some shows, they have different style, but everybody has
Their own
its,
style.
yeah. All of us are unique. So you don't need to be someone else. I don't
Yeah.
try to imitate someone or compete with someone else. I'm myself and I'm doing something that I love.
That's amazing.
Yes. Okay. There is a website here, landedforsuccess.com. You can find the book there, right?
You probably won't find the book there. If you go to, I think Kelly posted a link where we have an event tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's an
I
actual
don't see.
online launch tomorrow. And if they
But
want,
it's easy. I could find it very easily. You go to Amazon.com.
or just go to Amazon.com
Yes,
and
type.
type Landed for Success.
Yeah, landed was success. It's easy.
Yeah. You could be in England, you could be in, Paris, you could be in Dubai, you could be in Colombia, right? Just type Amazon.com.
Yes, and it
So in
works.
Mexico, I woke up one morning earlier this week and we were #1 in 2 different categories.
Wow,
Amazon's hot new releases in Mexico. So
Mexico. Wow. Yeah.
Ramos, what a beautiful individual, right?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
he's Carlos is is another amazing man. He's a businessman. He strong corporate background. And when you read his story, you know, for anybody who's ever been in corporate and they feel like they're a gerbil on a treadmill, right? And they kind of like, how do I go it on my own? It's think twice before you do it. You know, it's really sexy to think, let's just go on my own. Right? Let's
Yes,
find my boss.
exactly.
Proud was the story. Despite, you know, he's got incredible successes now. He's got an incredible international business, but it's not always a bed of roses, right?
Exactly.
The things you must go through in order before you can actually land for success. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's the event link. It's very difficult to memorize it, but if you go to Gordon's Facebook or landedforsuccess.com, you should have a link
Yeah,
there.
we'll put a link up there.
Yeah, tonight probably.
Yes.
You can find it and you can actually search it in Amazon. That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn from you, Pantea, to make the next one even more user friendly for people to find it.
Yes, sure. Let's work together. That's my honor to work with you always, always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Pantea. Really appreciate
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gordon. See you again. Bye bye.
it. Take care. Bye.